There's a lot of really wonderful things going on in my life. And I'm
Speak
so
a little more boldly into the microphone.
I mean, I can't just whisper and pretend I'm sort of here, but not in front of a crowd. There are a lot of wonderful things going on in my life, and I'm very grateful for all the good things that have been moving in my direction and that I'm open to, and that I call into being. There is one big contrast that I'm struggling with. So, I've been married to the same person for 36 years, and we are very, very, very much in love with one another even after all this time. And of course, the longer you're married to somebody, the more there are certain wrinkles and patterns that come into play that are just crazy-making. My husband is a worrier, but even more difficult for me is the fact that he is inclined to be very critical. It's his natural slant on life. He learned it at his mother's knee, and he still hasn't gotten out of the pattern. I tend to be very self-critical, but I've done a lot of work with that, so I'm much, much more gentle and caring toward myself. However, it's just this almost constant barrage from him on small, little, teeny things, and it just gets to me. It just does. And so I find myself telling little white lies that he doesn't know something, so he can't bother me about it. And sometimes I'll dress a certain way. He says, "Oh my God, those colors don't go." I'm like, "Yeah, they do." But I put so much energy into living with that. And I understand about getting into the vortex, but I don't know how to hold that place in the face of that kind of energy. And at the same time, I don't want not to live with it.
It's interesting to listen to you, because think about what we just talked about the cells of your body.
Yeah.
And hear yourself speaking almost as one of those cells who says, it would be ever so much easier for me to find alignment if I can control the conditions around me. Okay. And we just want to say to you, you can't, so give it up.
Right.
You can't control the uncontrollable. You're not going to give him a personality makeover. You said several things that were so interesting, as you're saying, and of course, in other words, you have all of these things that you've come to expect, and yet you're giving him credit for the way he is interacting with you, even though he has trained you, or you have allowed yourself to be trained into expectations that do not please you.
So how do I get out of that?
By stepping back from all of it far enough to acknowledge that there's too many moving parts to try to control. And by announcing to yourself mostly, but to the universe at large, that you're no longer going to try to control those uncontrollable moving parts. You're going to accept that you have two choices. You have a nitpicking, critical partner in life, and you can be annoyed by it, or you have a nitpicking, critical partner in life, and you can be amused by it.
I do try that.
Well, those are your choices. In other words, because what's bothering so many people is that you think, Abraham, I thought I could have the choice of having a nitpicking partner or not a nitpicking partner. And we say, you don't have those options from where you stand. You've got what you've got. The manifestation is surrounding you, and it will morph, but it will morph into something. It will get a little better, or it will get a little worse by your response to it. And your vibrational response to it is everything. But what happens is, so he's critical and you don't like it, and 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 it's critical and you don't like it. But that's not the whole story. The whole story is he's critical and you don't like it, so you ask for something else. And then he's critical and you still don't like it, so you ask for something else. And then he's critical and you still don't like it, and so you ask for something else. So the whole story is his critical nature is causing an evolution in you that you are not taking because of his critical nature. In other words, the rascal is causing you to expand, but he's also what you're using as your excuse not to take your expansion.
So how do I get the expansion? I know, but I keep forgetting.
By caring more about how you feel than anything else. By choosing of the two choices you have to find the humor of it or the annoyance of it. By taking control of what you can control, which is your response to anything and everything. In other words, you can control the way your life unfolds, but you cannot control the moving parts that are happening right now. Oh, now we're on to something. So let's state this in a new and powerful way. Oh, we want you to like this as much as we do. Consider with us the now reality, which includes a nitpicking husband. Consider with us the vibrational reality, which includes a vastly improved husband. Both of these realities are. If you spend your time looking at the now reality, your vibration's going to match it. And it's going to keep you from ever moving to the other. If you spend your time imagining or contemplating what you've put into the vibrational reality, your vibration's going to match it. In other words, you got to decide which reality you're a cooperative component to. Most humans have all but lost complete sight of the main event, which is the vibrational reality, which is the precursor of everything, which is where the larger part of you stands. And you're giving almost your undivided attention to this now reality. And we want to say in ways that you can hear is that this now reality does not mean diddly squat. In other words, all it ever meant to be was a bouncing off place for this. So where do we want you to be? What's this limbo that Abraham's got lined up for you? In other words, here's this vibrational reality which hasn't manifested, and here's this reality which isn't serving you now. It already did serve you. In other words, it served you. It's put it over here. So where are you? You're in the zone of life. You're in the life of life. If you can hold yourself in this vibrational state between the reality that's already manifested and the vibrational reality that hasn't, if you can ride that stream of expectation and possibilities, that's where your lighthearted upliftedness is. In other words, you could go home today with hope in your heart of an improved mate, or you can go home today with an expectation of a nitpicking mate. But here's the thing that we really want you to hear. We're not talking about the outcome that you want to talk about. We're talking about what it does to you here and now before you get home. We're talking about the opportunity to connect with the fullness of all of your power, or the opportunity to resist all of your power. Reaching for the thoughts that allow the alignment is what allows cellular functioning. It's what allows mental acuity. It's what allows the dexterity and flexibility you're seeking. It's what allows the cleverness and wit. It's what allows the good timing. It's what allows being in a conversation and knowing exactly what to say. It's what allows entrance into traffic. It's what allows good judgment as you make decisions to do one thing or another. In other words, there are just endless benefits to this alignment and no advantages to disallowing it. You see, we adore a nitpicking mate because how else are you going to learn to focus? In other words, if you've got a mate that is so compliant and so lovely and so willing to just stand on his head in every possible way, who trains you into lackadaisical thinking because you don't have to think with this mate. In other words, this mate does all the work. This mate is not necessary for you ever to tune yourself into who you are, because all you got to do is just observe this mate and you're just right there. And many of you say, take me to him and take me to him now. And we say, you don't want that. You want the opportunity to think. You want the opportunity to choose. You want the opportunity to create. You do not want a placid, non-contrasting anything. This contrast serves you, whether it's contrast in your mate or contrast in the food on your plate right now, pick around it. Or whether it's contrast in your body or contrast in your world or contrast in your government or contrast. Contrast equals freedom, because contrast equals choices. But you got to decide to choose. When you literally and ultimately and completely give up any need to control any behavior of any other, and you give your undivided attention to controlling something that you have absolute control over, whether it's humorous or irritating, you've got that control. Now you're free to go anywhere. And now as you train yourself into that positive expectation, the cooperative universe surrounds you with more of that. And it does get easier. The more you're in the vortex, the more in the vortex things come to you, and the more in the vortex things come to you, the more easy it is to be in the vortex, and the more easy it is to be in the vortex. So your contrast isn't as great, and things just get better and better for you. Everything that we're teaching you is to guide you in the direction of the vortex, because we want your world to get better and better and better and better and better for you. But we know these things to always be true. No matter how good your world becomes or is, you're going to keep asking for it to be better. It's just the nature of evolution, you see. And as long as things are evolving, then you've got to keep up with them, or you're not going to feel good. And it doesn't matter what you use as your current excuse to not keep up with your evolution. There's always going to be something. Today it's an irritating husband, tomorrow it's something else. And so you finally just got to get to the place where you accept the value of the contrast, and you take control of the direction of your thought, and you live happily ever after. Good time for a segment of lunch. Well, this has been a wonderful day of moving into new places. So let's recap together for just a moment. As you sit here in your physical body, do you claim your physicality more right now, or your non-physical beingness? Which feels more like you? And yet here you are in these bodies, clumps sitting individually, flesh, blood, and bone, manifested, having become. Others can see you and hear you and smell you. They can feel you. They can taste you. In other words, with their physical senses, they can observe you. They can catalog you and pigeonhole you. They can define you. They can discover you. They can label you. They can identify you. They can sort of take you in and sum you up and come to a conclusion about you. But can anyone who is not you know you? So the non-physical you, the vibrational you, can observe you in your physical body and doesn't smell you and doesn't see you and doesn't hear you and doesn't taste you and doesn't touch you. But the non-physical you, as it observes the physical you, knows you vibrationally, knows who you were prior to coming into this physical body, knows unequivocally the worthiness and the truth and the power and the love and the meaning of that which you were. But even more than that, that source energy, as it perceives you, knows everything that all that you have lived has caused you to become. And how does that non-physical you know you so completely? It is because it is you so completely. The non-physical you is all that you have become, leaving out discouragement, unworthiness, leaving out uncertainty, insecurity. The non-physical you is the synthesized version of all that you have ever been, and is the culmination of the best that life has helped you to garner. And the non-physical you stands in non-physical beingness, radiating the vibrational signal that is equal to all that you have become incessantly, all day, all night, eternally. And you have emotional feedback or response to that non-physical state of you. That's what your emotions are. In your moment of love, you are up to speed with the fullness of you. In your moment of hate, you're not. In your moment of frisky, you're up to speed. In your moment of love and appreciation and joy and confidence and worthiness, in your moment of adoration of someone, in your moment of compliment, in your moment of expression of the satisfaction of life, you are up to speed with who you are. But in your complaint and in your worry, you are not.